This is what is known as the decoy jacket. I was dating this woman for a few years, and sometime around Christmas I decided I needed a new jacket. And little did I know that she agreed, and that she had already purchased the black jacket that I normally wear now, the Columbia jacket. And she had already purchased that for me, and so without saying anything, because it was a Christmas thing, she said, "Don't get a new jacket, just here, use this one." And she pulled this red monstrosity out of her closet. Nobody ever wore this thing. And she said, "Can you just wear this jacket?" And that was it. I didn't pick up on, I just wasn't thinking about the Christmas season type of thing, and that she had her reason for not wanting me to buy a new jacket on my own. So that's why I'm wearing the red decoy jacket today, because I sent the other one to the laundry, and I'll get it back tomorrow. Yeah. I had something more to say, but I'll get to it in a minute, because this is an uncomfortable spot to be talking, as it turns out. So I don't remember exactly what she said to prevent me from buying myself a new jacket in the week or so before Christmas, but it worked. I didn't buy myself one, and this came at the expense of wearing this monstrosity for I don't remember how long. Anyway, if things go as planned, it looks like I'm going to meet up with somebody on Sunday who has been on my online radar since maybe 1993. She was part of the BBS scene that I was talking about in an earlier video, that was such an influential place for me and for a lot of people. I've never met her in person, but we have corresponded very sporadically over the years, always seemingly in the spirit of an overshare. That was the spirit of that old BBS, was confessional. Just anything goes. There's no secrets here. So she was a willing recipient of this type of TMI, too much information. I don't recall her unloading her deep, dark secrets, but she knows a lot about me, if she remembers it, if she even remembers these things that I've said. She knows, if she remembers, she will know how much I masturbate. She'll know that I'm a sleep sprawler, and that I really don't like necessarily sharing a bed with another person, and yada yada. I don't know if she'll really remember all this, or if it matters to her. So we'll find out. We have a lot to talk about, though. I'm mildly curious. This was her initiative. She contacted me and said we should hang out. And it's not, completely out of nowhere. We've been connected through this community of people since all these years, 27, 28 years, I guess. So we'll see what happens. I think I haven't looked her up, but my sense is that she's maybe a few years older than me. I know she told me she lives on the Upper West Side, so we're meeting at the park, Central Park. She had contacted me some months ago, but the weather just all went to hell. She works in the medical field, so she's been booked solid for COVID-related detail pretty much since, a year ago or longer. So we'll see. But just to clarify the nature of the connections that I had with this woman, our interactions were not always neurotic. They were not always overshare or TMI. I'm pretty certain this is the person who wrote somewhere about one of her parents dying and how the name got misspelled on the tombstone. And naturally enough, she took umbrage at this. But I chimed in with what I thought was helpful and, hope if it makes you feel any better type of observation, that kind of thing happens all the time. When I was doing my forensic genealogist thing, I can't tell you how many times I would send somebody a photo of their forebear's tombstone, and they'd shoot back at me like, "Why is his name spelled wrong?" Or what is that woman's name? Or who's that woman's, whose name appears on my grandfather's tombstone? I'd just be like, hey, I don't know, I'm just the messenger. But there are just endless mistakes on those things. It's the expression set in stone. I think people take that to mean that it's authoritative, but really it just means that you just can't change it. It doesn't mean that it's accurate or true. It just means that you can't change it. So I don't know that that actually did make her feel any better. Maybe I'll ask her if she even remembers that. This would have been over 10 years ago that we had this interaction. So, and we've been chatting on the IRC channel about a year ago before I got kicked off. So we talked about all kinds of good stuff. It wasn't all just the overshare stuff. So we'll have a lot to talk about. And by the way, this is my freezer. I bought that at the World Trade Center back in the only time I ever went up to the top was in the early 90s. I took pictures, but I've never been able to find them. That's my nameplate from CNN, and that's my nameplate from Time Inc. And there's some tchotchke from San Francisco, a couple of them. The Astro Diner was always one of my favorite places in Midtown. I always called it the Asshole Diner because I'm so fucking funny. O'Lunny's was a favorite Times Square area bar. And here's my part of my collection of Charlie Brown related pins. And there's a thing from Montreal. The thing fell off this freezer a whole bunch of times. That's why it's chipped. And this is clever what Walgreens does. When you get a flu shot, they cover your shot with, or cover the injection point with this bandage that says Flu Fighter. And it's funny, but I'll bet most people never see this because most people wear sleeved shirts. And especially, certainly in the wintertime when flu season comes along. Anyway. Now you know what's on my refrigerator freezer. Oh, and there's the K2 piggy bank that somebody gave me. Actually, that was a gift from two people who were in a relationship for a number of years, having met on my website. It didn't last forever, but they did make it a good long time. But if I'm a bit of an overshare, and I know I am, I think I probably got it from my mother. She frequently reminded me. I was always in a moment of anger or stress. She often reminded me, not often, but I can think of maybe 4 or 5 times that she would remind me that she had considered aborting me. And the reason was that she thought she was too old, and she was afraid that it would be a very bad delivery, but she went through with it anyway. Truth be told, I just don't think she wanted a second kid. And she made frequent references to the size of a guy that she was sleeping with for a while. And between that and my dad being gay, my very existence is sort of an existential quagmire. But I suppose it's best not to think about it. I discovered my dad was gay after he died. I was cleaning out his place. I found some VHS tapes in the drawer, and I put one of them in the VCR, and it was a gay porn. It was very explicit stuff. And later I found some print magazines and women's panties and underwear and pantyhose and that kind of thing. I never found any evidence that he actually had lovers or anything. And it shocked. I mean, I was still when I made this discovery, I was still reeling from the fact that he was a suicide. And when this happened, I was just like, what next, Dad? Were you a fucking Nazi too? I could never just shrug it off, but I am left, the lingering sentiment that I'm left with is that he just never got to be who he wanted to be. He never got to be who he was. And that's sad. I think my mother suspected it. I remembered later, after she died, I remember some of the things she said about how he talked like a woman. I never told her, though. I do kind of regret never telling her that I found evidence that he was gay, but it doesn't matter anymore, right?